ICE facilities continue to be targeted as unrest sweeps through parts of the country. On Friday night, an ICE building in Portland, Oregon, already the focal point of weeks-long protests, became the site of yet another violent incident. While demonstrators claim to be standing up for justice, it's the residents living near these battlegrounds who are paying the price. The chaos has turned once thriving neighborhoods into danger zones. The real suffering isn't endured by the agitators being arrested, or those throwing rocks and insults at federal officers. It's the ordinary people, whose homes are now surrounded by nightly riots. ICE protests in South Portland have created unbearable conditions for nearby residents. The noise, the explosions, the chemical gas clouds red-green, and sometimes unidentified, have made normal life nearly impossible. One woman described the torment to K2 News, saying she can no longer sleep or think clearly. Others have reported hearing non-stop explosions at night, seeing unfamiliar gases in the air, and fearing for their long-term health. What used to be a quiet residential community is now a war zone, with people trapped in their homes, hoping each night won't bring worse violence. ICE agents and local law enforcement find themselves stuck in a delicate position, trying to maintain order while being accused of provoking chaos. Protesters, emboldened by what they see as weak responses from city leaders, are escalating their efforts, some even calling in bomb threats or attempting to break into detention facilities. These aren't isolated incidents. What's happening in Portland is mirrored in places like New York City and even as far as Mexico City, where demonstrators are calling for the dissolution of border enforcement entirely. ICE officers have become symbolic targets. For the anarchists, anyone detained by ICE must be innocent simply because they oppose the current administration. Protesters in Portland have been spotted wearing makeshift armor, trying to storm buildings, and openly daring federal agents to stop them. Their ideology is uniform across cities. They want to open borders, eliminate enforcement, and disrupt any government operation they see as oppressive. And if they gain ground in Portland, similar uprisings will likely erupt elsewhere. ICE buildings now stand as symbols of conflict. But the people most affected aren't the protesters or the agents, it's the civilians caught in the middle. Families living across the street from the protest report trauma, health issues, and sleepless nights. Tear gas leaks into their homes. Sound grenades shatter their peace. Property managers have started reinforcing HVAC systems to keep chemical irritants from seeping indoors. Despite being apolitical, these residents are forced to endure the consequences of this ongoing chaos. ICE continues its work under extreme pressure, but if it caves to these violent mobs, the ripple effects could be severe. Protesters across America are watching Portland closely. If they see a facility breached or an agency backing down, they will interpret it as permission to push harder. The goal of many demonstrators is clear: flood the system, destabilize enforcement, and demand the permanent right for anyone to cross into the country without restriction, regardless of background, history, or danger level. ICE protests now involve far more than just chants and signs. DHS agents have had to use rubber bullets, smoke rounds, and riot control measures just to protect federal property. Local politicians in many cases have refused to intervene. Residents, meanwhile, are losing patience. Some say they've suffered ear damage from makeshift sonic devices used by protesters. Others describe feeling abandoned by both federal and city officials. One woman even sought medical treatment for what she believes is permanent hearing loss due to the high-frequency ringing used outside her building. ICE facilities are now surrounded by what some describe as semi-permanent encampments of agitators. The buildings are graffitied with anti-government slogans. Residents find their sidewalks littered, their air polluted with chemical agents, and their mental health unraveling. While some initially empathize with the cause, many now say they've reached a breaking point. The protests, they argue, are no longer about justice, they're about power, anarchy, and destruction. ICE operations in other parts of the country are also under threat. In Texas, officers have been ambushed outside their buildings. The Department of Homeland Security recently revealed that violent assaults against ICE agents are on the rise. One suspect was identified in an attack near Dallas, reinforcing the idea that these demonstrations are not isolated, they're spreading. Encouraged by viral footage and political rhetoric, would-be rioters across the country see themselves as part of a larger movement. Regardless of the damage they're doing, ICE now faces a dual battle, one against criminals who cross borders illegally, and the other against domestic extremists who are actively trying to dismantle federal law enforcement. The recent boost in funding billions set aside to hire and train new agents couldn't come at a more crucial time. The agency must protect its facilities and officers while restoring order to cities like Portland. If order isn't reestablished, If anarchists aren't held accountable, the violence will continue to spread. And the message sent will be one of weakness, not law. It's time the country takes notice before these localized riots become national collapse.